Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also has joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot, Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zebah, and as Zalmunna, who said, Let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever, yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Jehovah, art the Most High over all the earth. The Lord will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people, and the princes thereof. For ye have eaten up the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces, and grind the faces of the poor, saith the Lord God of hosts?
Hello, and welcome to Hidden History and Biblical Mystery, the channel where we explore the secrets of the past and the prophecies of the future. I'm your host, and today I have a very exciting topic to share. If you have been following my channel, you know that I have been talking about Utah being the biblical kingdom of Judah, the land of the tribe of Judah, from which Jesus Christ descended. But there is one question that has been bothering me for a long time. Where is Jerusalem, the capital city of Judah, in Utah? Well, after doing some extensive research, using web search and logical reasoning, I think I have found the answer. And the answer is Salt Lake City, Utah. Yes, you heard me right. Salt Lake City, Utah, the largest city in the state, the home of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the site of the 2002 Winter Olympics, is also the most logical location for Jerusalem, the holy city of God, in Utah. How did I come to this conclusion? Let me explain. First, I looked at the biblical descriptions of Jerusalem and its water sources and compared them to the geography of Utah. I found that Jerusalem was built on two parallel north-south ridges, bounded by the Hinnom Valley on the west and the Kidron Valley on the east. The main water source of Jerusalem was the Gihon Spring, located at the foot of the eastern ridge. Jerusalem also received water from the Jordan River Basin, which included the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea. Jerusalem was also connected to other water sources by aqueducts, such as the Solomon's Pools near Bethlehem. Using these clues, I searched for a possible location in Utah that matches the topography and hydrology of Jerusalem. I found that Salt Lake City, Utah, has many similarities with Jerusalem. Salt Lake City is situated on two parallel north-south ridges, bounded by the City Creek on the west and the Red Butte Creek on the east. The main water source of Salt Lake City is the City Creek, which originates from the City Creek Canyon near the Ensign Peak. Salt Lake City also receives water from the Great Salt Lake Basin, which includes the Great Salt Lake and the Utah Lake. In addition, similar to the Solomon's Pools near Bethlehem that supplied water to Jerusalem, Salt Lake City is also connected to other water sources by canals, such as the Jordan and Salt Lake City Canal near Murray, which play a crucial role in the city's water supply. Moreover, there are bodies of water near Bethlehem, Utah that contribute to the water supply of Salt Lake City. The Great Salt Lake, for instance, receives an infusion of water from two northern Utah water districts. The Weber Basin and Jordan Valley Water Conservancy districts send additional water to the lake. The Central Utah Water Conservancy District also redirects water to the Great Salt Lake. Salt Lake City is located in a valley, surrounded by mountains and hills, similar to Jerusalem. The City Creek and the Red Butte Creek are indeed located in a valley. These two creeks, along with 5 others, run through the Salt Lake Valley. They are hidden underground and traverse unseen through suburban streets and busy intersections across the Wasatch Front. Second, I looked at the history and archaeology of Jerusalem and its landmarks, and compared them to the history and archaeology of Utah. Jerusalem was a site of many religious events, such as the building of the temple, the ministry of the prophets, the life and death of Jesus Christ, and the birth of Christianity. Jerusalem was also a site of many battles, sieges, destructions, and rebuildings, as well as a site of interest to many ancient civilizations. Using these clues, I searched for a possible location in Utah that matches the history and archaeology of Jerusalem. I found that Salt Lake City, Utah, has interesting parallels with Jerusalem. Salt Lake City was a site of some religious events, such as the arrival of the Mormon pioneers, the establishment of the Salt Lake Temple, the founding of the University of Utah, and the building of the Salt Lake Tabernacle. Salt Lake City was also a site of some battles, such as the Utah War and the Morriside War. Salt Lake City was also a site of interest to some Native American tribes, such as the Ute, the Shoshone, the Paiute, and the Goshute. Third, I looked at the biblical prophecies and the eschatological significance of Jerusalem and its role in the end times, and compared them to the current and future events in Utah. I found that Jerusalem is a key player in the fulfillment of God's plan for the world. Jerusalem is the place where the Messiah will return, where the temple will be rebuilt, where the Antichrist will be defeated, and where the New Jerusalem will descend from heaven. Using these clues, I searched for a possible location in Utah that matches the biblical prophecies and the eschatological significance of Jerusalem. I found that Salt Lake City, Utah, has some potential to be the place where the Messiah will return, where the temple will be rebuilt, where the Antichrist will be defeated, and where the New Jerusalem will descend from heaven. Continuing our exploration aligning biblical locations with places in Utah, we considered Ensign Peak as a potential counterpart to Golgotha, the place of the skull. Ensign Peak, a prominent hill on the northern edge of the Salt Lake Valley, aligns with biblical descriptions of Golgotha being outside the city but close to it, near a public thoroughfare, and visible from afar. For the tomb of Christ, we looked for locations near Ensign Peak that could potentially match the biblical descriptions of being in a garden, near the place of crucifixion, and cut out of rock. Given these locations and our theory, a possible location for the tomb of Christ in Utah could be a secluded, rocky area near a garden in Salt Lake City, possibly near Ensign Peak. This location could theoretically have an underground vault or stone structure that aligns with the biblical description of Jesus' tomb. In the vicinity of Ensign Peak, there are several notable places. There are gardens like the Red Butte Gardens, known for its botanical garden, arboretum, and amphitheater, and the International Peace Gardens, a park dedicated to world peace. There are also trails leading to interesting rock formations, such as the Ensign Peak Trail and Overlook, and the Living Room Lookout. Historical sites abound, including the Ensign Peak Historic Site and Nature Park, which was dedicated 149 years to the day after President Young and his exploring party ascended the conical-shaped mountain he had seen in vision and named it Ensign Peak. From there, they surveyed the Salt Lake Valley and began to lay out the new city. There are several stone structures near Ensign Peak, including the Ensign Peak Nature Park, which has 9 stone seats and 9 trees encircling the plaza. The paving stones on the floor sketch a map of the world. The tomb of Christ, according to the biblical description, was provided by Joseph of Arimathea, a wealthy Jewish follower of Jesus. He donated his new tomb for Jesus to be buried in. However, it's important to note that while we haven't found a definitive location for the tomb of Christ, we have found a general area to look at. But let it be known that it's kind of like finding needles in a haystack because Utah is full of caves, tombs, and artifacts to discover. Or better yet, this additional research further validates and strengthens the case for Salt Lake City as a parallel to Jerusalem. Not only in historical and archaeological aspects, but also in the alignment of specific biblical locations with corresponding sites in Utah. The association of Ensign Peak with Golgotha and the exploration of potential tomb locations nearby adds an intriguing layer of confirmation to the hypothesis that Salt Lake City could indeed be the modern manifestation of Jerusalem in this model. Or perhaps the ancient Jerusalem. This additional research further validates and strengthens the case for Salt Lake City as a parallel to Jerusalem. Not only in historical and archaeological aspects, but also in the alignment of specific biblical locations with corresponding sites in Utah. The association of Ensign Peak with Golgotha and the exploration of potential tomb locations nearby adds an intriguing layer of confirmation to the hypothesis that Salt Lake City could indeed be the modern manifestation of Jerusalem in this theoretical model. Both biblical Jerusalem and Salt Lake City, as proposed in this model, have valleys with rivers flowing through them, connecting the landscape to the historical and geographical descriptions outlined in the scriptures. Now, let's delve into some historical aspects that cast doubt on the traditional narrative surrounding the construction of Salt Lake City. The journey of the Mormons to Utah was undeniably challenging, with an estimated 50,000 to 80,000 making the trek between 1847 and 1868. The toll was staggering, with nearly 6,000 losing their lives, many due to diseases like cholera. The tragic events of the two last handcart companies in 1856, where more than 200 lives were lost to early snowstorms, underscore the harsh conditions faced by the pioneers. While the initial group that settled Salt Lake City was small, consisting of 143 men, 3 women, and 2 children, by 1870, the population had grown to 12,000, with over 90% identifying as Mormons. Questions arise about how such a small group could establish a city of that scale in such a short time frame. The layout of Salt Lake City's grid system adds another layer of complexity. Brigham Young proclaimed Temple Square as the center just 3 days after the pioneers arrived in Utah. The city's streets, spanning 135 10-acre blocks, were meticulously planned. This ambitious grid system challenges the notion that a group of pioneers, fresh from a grueling journey, could execute such precise urban planning. Brigham Young's views on Native Americans further complicate the narrative, acknowledging the challenges in the settlers' interactions with indigenous communities. He stated, "If the whites in their character and position with the intelligence and knowledge of the world and of mankind which they have, had been as kind to the Indians as they have been to the whites from the beginning, there never would have been a single difficulty to this day." Drawing parallels to the treatment of African Americans in history, we enter a brand new territory, suggesting a connection between the displacement of Native Americans and the so-called African American experience. It's a rabbit hole worth exploring, considering the historical context of settlements and land acquisition during this tumultuous period. In exploring these historical nuances, we shed light on the multifaceted challenges and complexities surrounding the construction and establishment of Salt Lake City. These points raise valid questions and encourage a deeper examination of the narratives woven around this pivotal chapter in history. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this topic. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring the hidden history and biblical mystery of Utah and the U.S. And remember, you can't spell Jerusalem without the USA.